Hey friends, what's going on? Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host Jan Man. Jesus. How you doing? I hope you're doing well. Really do hope that. Welcome back to the daily series here on Football Therapy, Chelsea News. That's right friends, every single day where I sit here and I go through the headlines and react to said headlines with you, giving you my opinion on it, but more importantly, asking for yours. Cheesy transition out of the way, housework, please do drop a like, helps me out. It's a click of a button, takes a split second, and it's just friendly and nice. Feel free to subscribe as well. If you're yet to subscribe, a lot of you are already subscribed, some of you aren't. Opportunity to jump on the train. Right, today we're discussing 4 topics. I want to discuss the Ousmane Dembele developments, not only because Chelsea are the most likely destination in the summer, but actually there's talk of him, if I can learn to talk, I'll continue the sentence, potentially having his contract terminated at Barcelona. That would obviously be in their interest to alleviate them of his wages. And then theoretically become a free agent. Could he come to Chelsea straight away? We'll talk about that. Andreas Christensen, we all think he's going to go. He's just done that feature of Chelsea Football Club like a pro. I want to reflect on him. And maybe I've been a little bit too harsh on Christensen in terms of wanting him out the door. Not wanting him out the door, but allowing him to go out the door. De Ligt and Declan Rice. Lots to get into. You know what? Let's start off with Andreas Christensen, because I have just watched the video like a pro, and he talks about, his time at Chelsea. Now, what's the situation with Christensen? Many of us think he's leaving Chelsea. Thomas Tuchel, a couple of months ago now, did that press conference when he publicly applied pressure onto Andreas Christensen, saying, he talks the talk, now he's got to walk the walk, he's a Chelsea boy, he has to prove it. Basically, insert meme of Mike Tyson going, sign the contract, big boy, sign the contract. Bob Sapp, he needs to sign the contract. That's what Thomas Tuchel was implying there. He didn't. Reportedly, the goalposts had changed. Chelsea thought Christensen was going to sign. He was the most likely one out of all of them, even before Thiago Silva. And then suddenly, he changed his mind. Whether because he got contract offers from Bayern Munich of a lot more money, who knows. Which is interesting that Chelsea have published this Like a Pro video, which is a feature on a player. I don't know if you've seen it, and they speak about their time at Chelsea for a few minutes. He doesn't look like a player that's been frozen out. He's been out with positive tests. I did get to the point of wondering, is this just a ruse, or is this just like a cover-up for Thomas still keeping out of the team because he's not extended his contract? But maybe not, I don't know. I have no connections to the club. I have no ins, I have no sources. I reflect on information just like you. I'm a fan. So with Andreas Christensen, it's peculiar that they published this video like a pro, because it sort of insinuates he's still integrated and has that desire. And maybe he does. Maybe they're just saying, look, you've been a good servant for Chelsea. You've been here nearly 10 years. Have a Like a Pro video. And if you go, you've won European trophies with us. Do you know what I mean? The thing is, what I wanted to talk about Christensen is, because I think I've been a little bit more dismissive of him, because we've got Thiago Silva being like the best centre-back in the world at the moment in the middle of the park. But he will be 38 next season. Andreas Christensen's 25, 26, and he is very good under Tuchel. The Champions League final, he was amazing. He has put in some absolutely incredible performances at centre-back. And, being more than 10 years younger than Thiago Silva. He's like 12 years younger, or 11 or 12 years younger than Thiago. That's mind-blowing. You'd have to back Andreas Christensen to get better and develop. I think he has been. So, in a way, I'm sort of thinking, would be good to keep him. It would be good to keep him. I know we're going to get Jules Koundé, but he seemed a little bit more like a wide centre-back, rather than, Christensen has played in all 3 parts of the back 3. I know we might change formation as well to a back 4, but it's worth talking about, and I wanted to talk about that. Chelsea, of course, linked to Jules Koundé. I think we'll sign him. I personally think he'll be closer to a Cesar Azpilicueta replacement, should Azpi go, which I do think is relatively likely. But staying on the centre-backs, moving on from Andreas Christensen, if Christensen does go, which I still think he might probably do. I think that's the idea. Chelsea might not just buy Koundé, they might look to bring someone else. Now, of course, we've got Colwill at Huddersfield that's playing very well. That by all means, for why could Colwill why is that a tongue twister? Could absolutely be integrated into the Chelsea first team. And I say that because of Trevor Chalobah. Let's not forget about Trevor Chalobah here. If we're going to a back four as well, you could be like, all right, what have we got? Hopefully, we get Antonio Rudiger to re-sign. Thiago Silva for another season, but Jules Koundé, so that's already three, and Trevor Chalobah, so it's already 4 centre-backs into 2 spots, which you might be like, okay. But, you bring Colwill into that as well, who's really highly rated at Huddersfield. He's playing incredibly well. In terms of one of the young centre-backs in Europe, he's ranking incredibly highly statistically. Granted, it's not in the top 5 leagues because it's in the Championship, but still, people are looking at him going, yes, please. But I wanted to talk about Matthijs de Ligt, because he's been linked with Chelsea a lot, and I haven't really reflected on it on this channel much, because I just think, well, really, do you know what I mean? Juventus basically want to absolve themselves of his wages. I think he's on £190,000 per week. Now, that is probably a little bit more than what we've offered elite senior centre-back Antonio Rudiger at Chelsea. Granted, Chelsea would look at the profile of Matthijs de Ligt. Granted, Chelsea would look at the age of Matthijs de Ligt and think he's worth investing more because he'll have resale value and asset rather than, Rudiger's 28, turning on 29. Didn't mean to do that. Do we want Matthijs de Ligt? I'm going to put it out to you guys. He was really good at Ajax. He was the captain when he was 19 years old, which is mental, by the way. A teenage captain. I remember that sort of speech he did after they won the league, and he was addressing thousands of people in English, going, "Attacking football, Johan Cruyff," and everyone was cheering, and I thought, whoa, this kid has got something. And obviously, centre-backs became cool again, and where do you go if you're a cool centre-back? You think of Leonardo Bonucci with his aviators in this 2016 Euros, getting off the plane with Conte, when wow, centre-backs are cool again. Do you know what I mean? Juventus have revitalised the centre-back. How do you keep that vibe going? You buy the best up-and-coming cool young centre-back in the world, Matthijs de Ligt. Did Chelsea want him? I don't know. You tell me. I haven't watched him enough. For those of you who are more football hipsters than I, that have kept an eye on Matthijs de Ligt over recent years, I guess, last couple of years since he's been at Juventus, let me know. Comment down below. Let's start the conversation. And for others wondering like me, you can engage with each other down in the comment section about centre-backs, essentially. So we're going to end on Declan Rice, because he's all over the headlines at the moment. I do want to talk about that. So let's just talk about, I'm looking at an article from Football 365 talking about Chelsea still interested in Dembele as Barca plan termination. So, okay, Dembele's been a huge problem for Barcelona in terms of wages and him not being part of the plans and being integrated at the moment. I'm not going to bore you about how Thomas Tuchel loves Dembele, how Dembele was amazing under Thomas Tuchel, how he would be a 24-year-old talent that was the 3rd most expensive player in the world, that's still only early mid-20s. A financial asset, could be really valuable to purchase him, or to get him for free. He wouldn't have been my first choice as an attacker, and to be honest, mate, he probably wasn't yours either, let's be honest. Even to those of you who think, yeah, he's a really talented guy, but because of the injury record, disciplinary record, granted he was young, but Thomas Tuchel loves him. He was amazing from at Dortmund. If you want to back the manager, you'd be like, okay, what do you, Thomas Tuchel, Chelsea manager, what player do you want? He'd probably be like, I want Dembele. Well, you can have him, mate, because you won us the Champions League. And, oh, what's that? Oh, he won't cost us a transfer fee. Now, if Barcelona, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, which I often am. Barcelona, if they agree with the player, all right, look, can we just cancel your contract, please? Like Aubameyang just did with Arsenal, they become a free agent, which means you don't need a transfer window to sign for a club because you're not bound to a contract. So if Barcelona let's say to Dembele, look, you're not going to play for the rest of the season, you're costing us £200,000 a week, can we rip up your contract now and you can just go and do what you want and sign on? He might go, alright then, he might just be like, nah mate, I'm going to chill for a bit. and, do nothing and get paid. But at the same time, you might think, Chelsea look pretty good. I miss Thomas Tuchel. They might win a couple of trophies this season. I could be a part of that. I'm going to go and sign as a free agent. Maybe, maybe not. The truth is, probably the biggest stumbling block for Chelsea getting a new attacker is getting players off the book, getting other players sold, wages off the book. Plus, if they sign Dembele mid-season, when they're trying to sell a player in the summer, the buying club will be like, I'm going to pay you less because I know you need to get rid of him because you have too many players because you signed Ousmane Dembele. Do you know what I mean? So Chelsea might be putting themselves in a difficult position, but at the same time, if Chelsea are thinking, we need to definitely get top 4 and win trophies, we want more goals, does Dembele bring that? I don't know. You decide. And comment down below on Ousmane Dembele, which I think is a really interesting story. I'm definitely holding my position on this, which is, if the manager wants him, if the manager wants him, back the manager. Simple as that. So that's Ousmane Dembele. We'll keep a close eye on that story. And we're going to end on Declan Rice, where, excuse me, I don't know why I've got hay fever today, so I keep having to clear my throat. I've taken an antihistamine, so we'll see when that comes in. Declan Rice is all over the headlines in all kinds of football media. The Independent headline here: Declan Rice, Chelsea, Manchester United and Manchester City target West Ham star. The three big clubs that want Declan Rice are Chelsea, of course, long linked to Declan Rice. There's the narrative as well because he's an academy player and a Chelsea fan. And, the love is like best mate Mason Mount. Man City because they see a player, and bearing in mind context, Declan Rice is like one of the best players in the Premier League at the moment. Playing for a good club, but not in the top 4 squads, yet he's playing like a top 4 player, and he's been sensational. You might have your opinion on Declan Rice, it might be positive, it might be negative. What is undeniable is his level of performances in the Premier League competition this season. It's been absolutely incredible. I'm not one of these people that think it has to be him who comes to Chelsea. I'd love, Chouameni, I think he's incredible as well. But in terms of performing in the Premier League on front of our eyes, he's been doing it for years, and this season he's just gone a level above. Guardiola wants him at Man City. He'd be great because he could be like he'd be closer to Fernandinho than he would be to Rodri, I think. Or maybe not, because maybe that's a bit unfair because he does get forwards a lot. I think basically he'd just be perfect for he'd be perfect for all three. Probably Manchester United need him the most. They need a conventional CDM holding midfielder that can play ball. He's exactly what they need. They've got Fred, McTominay, Matic. Do you know what I mean? They basically would build their midfield and ultimately their team around Declan Rice, Manchester United. So it's a three-pronged race. I would be really frustrated if he goes to one of the Manchester clubs because he wants to come to Chelsea and he'd make us better. But at the same time, if we don't sign him and sign Chouameni or something, I think that's great. Now there's a lot of perhaps sensitive fans that think whenever you start mentioning a CDM, it's a hate piece on Jorginho, which just simply isn't the case. I think Jorginho is an amazing footballer, but he's a very specialist style midfielder. Of course, the word regista has gone a little bit out of fashion now, but he's that metronomic player that looks after the ball and thinks very, very quickly and can just basically put his foot on the game and just say, right, stop, I'm going to stop chaos. He brings order out of chaos, Jorginho. He's not like a Cesc Fabregas in terms of playing quarterback, sweeping long balls. And then he's not like a Fernandinho type CDM either. He's this metronomic player. And he's in his 30s now though. He'll have 1 year left on this deal, and I think he might want to go back to Italy. We'll see what happens there. But in terms of playing a back 4 system, I think Jorginho would do it. We could do in a 4-1-4-1. He looked okay. He did look a bit knackered though. I do wonder if a Chouameni, Declan Rice style character would offer Thomas Tuchel the comfort of playing a back 4 system a little bit more. If he does that, I think Jorginho and Thiago Silva would both be the sort of kind of profiles to suffer. Thiago Silva can play in a back 2, he looks amazing, but he's getting old now, and in a back 2, you've got to cover more ground. So, Declan Rice, and the reason why he's in the headlines is because West Ham didn't sign anyone in January, which reportedly is showing no ambition for top four, and if they don't get top four, they get that fourth spot, which they're very much been in the race for. Even if they get Europa League, there'll be a little bit of like disappointment there because they think, why not? This is the time, strike while the iron's hot. While Manchester United, Tottenham, and Arsenal aren't great. Do you know what I mean? And we could have bought someone in January and got that fourth spot. Declan Rice might be like, well, I finally want to play in the Champions League. Chelsea and City offer that. Manchester United generally offer that, even if they don't next season. But they do offer the prestige of Man United and loads and loads and loads of money. Man United are the highest paying club in England, which obviously money talks. Look, man, I would like him to come to Chelsea. I wouldn't be heartbroken if he doesn't come to Chelsea. I do want us to sign a midfielder, whether it's Tchouaméni or Declan Rice. But certainly, he's all over the headlines, so I wanted to reflect on it in today's Chelsea news video because Chelsea and Declan Rice are popping up all over the gaff again. What do you think, though? Let me know. Comment down below. Let's continue the conversation together. And thank you for all engagements, likes, and you, friend, who are yet to subscribe, please consider doing so. Every day there's videos here on Football Therapy, and I really hope and look forward to seeing you on the next one. So, enjoy the football. I'll see you later.
You ain't so tough with that bad boy tuck. I'ma get it how I'm living, I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines, I rap through thought. Body bag the verse, outlined in chalk. In my life seen trouble, hustle on the double. Silence on the trigger like my pick got a muzzle. Yo, chick like to guzzle, bad boy stay in trouble. I only love this paper, sorry I don't. I laugh me, bitch.